Mr. Lewis, you have questions about why you're here. Why all of you are here. Well, I have them for you. Each person here represents a piece of the brain. The brain needed to place each piece of itself through multiple forms of scenarios. The brain is meant to be split into pieces, but the brain must first know which pieces are to be split. The brain will be split into 5 pieces, but there are only 4 pieces. Now with Mr. Lewis, there's 5.
Stop with this third person talk. If you knew you would have to do this, why drag all of us into this?
Excuse me. I have lived what you could perceive as 4 life cycles, 4 different people, 4 different ideals in one mind. I am the brain of the smartest person in the multiverse. The one that created the theory to save the multiverse. My mind has degraded over these life cycles. I know the pieces that make this mind whole. The pieces were starting to fade away. I searched for the right replicants to reinvigorate my mind. That's why each one of you were chosen. That's why you're here. Even though you believe you were led here by your clues, you were really led by me. I brought you here. I created a fake version of Jax to attack you and used him to lure you to this very point. Each one of you are named after games because of the aspects you represent. Uno and Jax represent the right brain, creativity, and feelings. Meanwhile, you and Shogi represent the left brain, logic and intelligence. Checkers is the lining that represents both. Now that you're here, I can formally run my simulation.
I don't care about your simulation, or any of those weird names you give us. Just let us go.
You will need to convince me.
Huh?
You all will be able to leave. I've foreseen it in my future. You just need to convince me.
I don't understand. If you know this will happen, then why don't you just let us go?
Because that is not how it's supposed to play out. You need to find a way to freedom.
Well, you should let us out because we are real people.
I'm a firm believer in solipsism.
Which means what in this situation?
This means I believe I'm the only true real person around me. I can prove my existence, but I can't prove yours.
The view that the self is all that can be known to exist. Okay. Well, if you can't prove we exist, then these aspects you see in us is just an illusion.
An illusion can still interact with a physical object.
How so?
Think of virtual reality and the human. The moving visuals the user sees with the optical stimulation is an illusion. The illusion is interacting with the human knowing that the illusion is not real. Try again.
Fine. Well, what is real to you?
A physical presence, something I can grasp.
How can you grasp something when you are in your own mind speaking to a quote-unquote illusion?
Interesting perspective. But I know from prior experiences the feel of an object in worlds. Besides, I'm the smartest mind in the multiverse. Try again.
Prior experiences? How do you know those are real experiences and not all just made up thoughts?
Proving my point. If the potential of past experiences being falsified, I could in fact be within a brain in a vat. Try it again.
Okay. Before you took me here, I saw brains in a vat. That means that you have our brains in the real world.
What if my brain is in a vat? My brain could be manipulated with electrical stimulations to make me perceive all of this.
That's redundant to me and these people.
But it's not an improbable situation.
If it's probable, then let us out to prove it.
If I let you out and it's not the truth, then I would need to find new aspects of myself and start the process over. No, too risky.
If you put our brain in a vat, and you're in a vat yourself, then you would need to confront your captors. I can't confront them if you have me captured.
But if that is really true, where does it begin?
You should be answering, where does it end? If you truly want me to prove to you that what I'm saying exists, I'd have to create a brain and a vat system myself, and go through the same cycle so they can prove to me, to prove to you, that they exist. Then, if your theory is correct, then you would have to do the same. Then how long would that go? What if it goes beyond our dimensions of thinking? I mean, think about it. What if a fourth dimensional being has you in this, and a fifth dimensional being has them in their version of a brain in a vat? Time ceases to exist under our thought of it once the fourth dimension is in play. Either it would be instant and you would know, or it would be an eternity before you get your answer. The brain wouldn't hold up for that long, and I know you know this.
You're right. How did you know going this route would work?
Because the ideas we have aren't the true meaning. It's what our brain comprehends them to be. So when we hear something, it's our brain's interpretation. I figured out what your interpretations are. Besides, I'm chess. Remember?
Checkmate. You convinced me, Mr. Lewis. The question now stands. How will you five live on?
What do you mean?
You are aspects of the brain. This means you carry pieces of the brain in you individually. All of your original bodies are gone. I can recreate them, but what will you do with these ties to me?
What is there to do?
This universe is tied to many others. A vast network of multiple ranges of existence. I did all I could in my previous lifetimes to save it, but it's bound to fall. And there is a potential outcome of saving it all from this damned fate.
And what is that outcome?
Preparing the multiverse for what is to come. It is the only way.
You're putting this all in the hands of the five of us? Seriously? We don't even know how to travel through space to cross these other worlds.
It'll work itself out. You'll find a way, Mr. Lewis. You always do.
No, wait!
My mission is done here, Mr. Lewis. It's time for you and others to take charge.
You can't just...
Good luck.
And so, as quickly as this all started, it ended. We all awoke in vats in our new bodies. Our minds felt freer. Without a real calling on what to do next, we went back to our regular lives. Well, what could be considered regular. I took Drew back home to my aunt. Me and him are starting to work on our relationship to be better than what it was. He's trying to do better now. Michaela has started working on herself. She's been out of trouble and overall in a better space now. Checkers has gotten into tournaments. He has a record of 50 wins, 50 losses, and 50 stalemates. I guess he really does represent the center. Finally, Shogi. He went off on an adventure into the mountains of Japan. He said he wanted to find a peaceful spot to meditate and finding ways to play the game. We'll see how that goes. As for me, I've been working on figuring out what's next for us. I think the brain was in the midst of splitting up during our last conversation. I figured we would have gotten a new direction. For now, I'm going to continue to just work on figuring out what's next, and how this multiverse the brain spoke of works.